What's up guys, it's Kristen here today with my July TBR. Now this month's TBR is going to be a little bit different from my normal ones because first off there's a couple books that I am still in the middle of that I kind of spread out over a few months, and I think I do this because in the summer months they never feel as distinctive as the rest of the year. So that's when I usually tackle my larger books and just spread them out over several months, and then I have another book that I really don't want to read, but I'm gonna push myself and I'm gonna try. And then I'm gonna leave myself open to a little bit more mood reading during the month, and I have a few selections that I'll show at the end, but I wouldn't say I've been necessarily in a slump the last couple months. I just haven't found a book that I've completely fallen in love with. Everything's just been solidly good. So I'm thinking that leaving myself open for some mood reading might help the situation out. I mean, who knows? We can only hope. So we'll start off with the couple books that I am already in the middle of. If you've been watching my channel the past couple months, you've probably already seen these and heard me talk about them several times, but the first one is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. It is about 1,000 pages, and I will finally finish it off this month in July, and as I've said before, I would classify this as a historical fiction, alternate history fantasy book. It's very unique, very different. It is set in the early 1800s in England, and in this world, magic has always existed and everybody knows about it, but for the past 200 years it has disappeared from England and nobody knows why, until of course Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell come along, and they are the first magicians to come. I definitely preferred part 1 to part 2 that I read last month, so I'm really hoping that part 3 is gonna bring it back up to the same level, but honestly I'm just almost more excited to watch the BBC miniseries adaptation. I only watched a very short trailer for it, but it looks to be very accurate to the book, and I can't wait to do a review slash comparison between the book and the TV show when I finish it. And the other behemoth book that I spread out over a couple months is The Crimson Petal and the White by Michel Faber, and I've been buddy reading this with Hilary from Yrrobotfriend. I freaking love her. Please go check out her channel if you haven't already. And this book is historical fiction. It is set in Victorian England following a prostitute named Sugar who is slowly but surely making her way up in the ranks of society. And like I said, we read the first half of this book in June, and so far I'm really enjoying it. The writing is gorgeous, but I think the thing that I love most about it is the style of narration. I'd never really read a book like this where the narrator is almost like a tour guide in speaking to the reader and literally will say, like, come follow me, we're gonna catch this character. Or when something is revealed, they'll say, oh, I bet you didn't see that coming, and it really just sucks you into the story and makes you feel like you are there with the characters in Victorian England. And obviously it doesn't do it all the time, or else that would eventually get annoying. And I know there is a really great adaptation to this book, and I believe it's a BBC movie adaptation as well that a lot of people have told me is just excellent. So once again, I can't wait to watch the movie after finishing the book. And now onto the book that I am not very excited to get to say the least. It is called The Time of the Twins by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. And this is a high fantasy book, and a member of my book club picked it. And honestly, when they picked it, my first thought was, really? Do I actually have to read this? And I think it's my horrible prejudice because it's more of an old school fantasy book. It was written in the 80s, and I realize, as much as I always say how much I love fantasy, most of the fantasy books I have read have been written in the more recent history, and for some reason I have such negative connotations with older school fantasy books, which is totally unwarranted because I haven't read any. So the title and the cover are not exactly helping the cause. I'm basically a hypocrite when it comes to this, and I did read the first couple of chapters and I was very intrigued by it right away. It does seem like a typical fantasy book set in a medieval world and trying to fight a darkness of some sort with wizards and magic and stuff, but it has amazing ratings on Goodreads, and you know, 2 female fantasy writers. This is gonna be hopefully my lesson to not judge a book by its cover / when it was written, because that just makes me a horrible person, essentially. And now for a book that I'm actually very excited to read. It is The Kroger by Erik Axel Sund. I was sent this for review by Knopf Publishing, and I was actually gonna wait a few months to read it because it feels like more of a wintry read to me, because it's a Swedish crime thriller, and I don't know, I can only picture Sweden and Stockholm in the wintertime, which again is like a stereotype that Canadians get, so I shouldn't be putting it on Sweden that way. But I was just too excited, and I've already started reading it and really enjoying it. Of course, it is naturally getting a lot of comparisons to Stieg Larsson's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo Millennium Trilogy, which is a series that I absolutely loved, and again, so far I'm really liking it, but it is definitely living up to what people told me, that it is very dark and very disturbing, so might not be a book for everybody. This is another massively chunky book that I'm tackling this summer, and so I might not finish it in the month of July because it's close to 800 pages, because I think it was originally released as a trilogy in Sweden, but now they've compiled it all into one book. Then for my middle grade / children's book of the month, I'm going to read The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge, and this is another book set in Victorian England. I don't know what it is with me recently in that time period, and it follows a young girl named Faith who really is going against the stereotypes of the time. She is incredibly interested in science and she wants to pursue that, but it seems like from the description there's also magical fantasy elements to it and also some kind of murder mystery. Not really sure. This whole year I've just been going back and forth between the Fairyland books by Catherine and Valente and the Series of Unfortunate Events, so I thought it was time to change things up a little bit, and this one has just been getting rave reviews, and it won the Costa Book Award in 2015, and I'm always on the lookout for excellent middle grade / children's literature. So those are all the set books that I have for my TBR in July that I will definitely get to or have already started reading. And then though, I've decided that I'm going to do the try a chapter tag, where you read the first chapter of 5 different books and decide which one you want to read at that moment. I will just show you the books here quickly, but when I do the tag in the next couple weeks, I will obviously go more in depth about them. But the first one that I'm going to try out is Jane Steele by Lyndsay Faye. Then I'm going to try out The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. I can't believe I actually found this hardcover on sale for $7 at the bookstore, because I've been wanting to read this for so many years, but I wanted this specific edition so badly. And then the other 3 books that I'm going to try out will be Arcadia by Iain Pears, and The Children's Home by Charles Lambert, and lastly, Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. So that is it for the books that I will be / might be reading in the month of July. And again, I would love to hear from you guys if you have already read any of these books, or tell me about some of the books you are excited to get to this month. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!